So today I want to take you back to one of my favorite shots, and I shot the image in Botswana in the Okavango Delta in 2015, and we did a epic road trip there. My wife and I just rented a car and drove around South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and back to South Africa in 4 weeks time. And yeah, in this episode I want to talk to you about the part in the Okavango Delta in Botswana. So when we arrived in Johannesburg, we got a rental car and we drove to the border of Botswana. We stayed there for one night, and the day after we crossed the Kalahari towards Maun. So this is at the beginning of our 4-week journey. And we stayed in a little town called Maun, and I think if you have ever been to Botswana, that's the tourist center of the Okavango Delta. So if you want to visit, I think most tours or flights or boats, they're all leaving from that place. So if you're visiting there, just make sure to check out Maun. And yeah, the owners of the lodge really helped us to book a couple of tours. So they arranged a plane for us that we joined a couple from Switzerland. And yeah, we were in this plane with the pilot, the 4 of us, flying over this Okavango Delta, and it was just yeah, a beautiful place. And I just can't explain how large this area is. And we flew over it for, I think it was an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, and yeah, the only thing you see is nature, and as far as the eye can go, it's nature everywhere, and you can see animals from the plane. Yeah, of course, only the larger ones. So we saw a lot of hippos, giraffe, buffaloes, zebras, and also in this shot you can see there are even some elephants that I tried to photograph. It's actually pretty difficult to see because they are just so tiny from the airplane, and I was a bit unlucky because I was sitting on the left side of the plane, and every animal that we saw was on the right side of the plane. So my wife was really lucky, but for photography I just shoot a couple of landscapes, and those elephants happened to be on the right side for me. And I remember that the pilot just put the plane a little bit to the left so I could get the lens down and make sure that the sky was out of the frame. But still, it's just a tiny spot in this image. But yeah, we really got a sense of how large this place really was. But the next day was actually the most epic thing about this Okavango trip. We booked a tour where someone would yeah, get us in one of those little boats that you can see here, and yeah, they were gonna float us through the real Okavango Delta, and it was just really amazing. And I think it was the most peaceful experience that I've had in my whole life. So just imagine sitting like this in a boat, looking forwards, and there is just nothing around you than nature. You just hear nothing. The only thing you hear is a little bit of water flowing around you, around this canoe, and yeah, every now and then you hear the stick being put in the water. So you can see here there's another boat crossing us, and yeah, all these lilies in the water, they are just so gorgeous, and it's just really peaceful. So every now and then, of course, you encounter some animals, and so at one point we crossed a couple of reeds, and there was a crocodile laying in them, and my wife and I were like, "Oh my God, there's a crocodile there! Watch out!" And the tour guide just didn't give a damn. He actually didn't even respond to the crocodile, and later he explained to us that yeah, they never attack the boats. They're just laying there, and it was the dry season, so there was really the water levels were really low, and he told us that he was probably in a winter sleep, and a crocodile needs 1 or 2 meals a year to survive, so they are not in any way disturbed by human behavior around there. So also beautiful birds around there, and the image that I'm gonna work to in this is actually a bird image, and it's just a really nice story and a really good memory for me. So this is the pied kingfisher just sitting on a wooden pole where the tour guide can put his boat on, And yeah, it was just sitting there beautiful blue sky. So I'm really happy with this bird image. But this is the way you look over the water. So you're sitting, yeah, you're sitting on the water level in the boat. So it's everything just floats by, and there are just these beautiful lilies. And yeah, it was a beautiful blue day. You do have to bring sun cream and a nice hat to cover yourself, because if you don't, you're gonna get burned awfully. So it's really hot there. I think the day we were there it was about 35 degrees, and yeah, it was a pleasure, but you have to take precautions when you go to a place like this. So you can see another one of these lilies up close. It's just not really sharp, so that's the difficult thing about a canoe. The thing is constantly moving. So yeah, the tour guide just doesn't like to stop yeah, really much, because the moment he stops, the boat gets a little bit shaky, and as long as he keeps floating, the boat is much steadier. So we're trying to float all the time, and there are just examples like this, like a little frog, and he just pointed to it to us. He knew it was there, and yeah, I just pointed the camera and just floated with it and pushed the shutter when I passed it. And I think we saw maybe 3 or 4 of these frogs, and this is the only one that's sharp. So this is how you were sitting in this canoe. This guy was sitting on his own, and yeah, the guy just puts his stick in the water and he pushes the boat forward. So the only thing you hear is the stick leaving the water, being put in, and then yeah, the boat goes forward, and you hear a little bit of water noise to the bottom of the boat, but that's it. And the rest is birds, nature, animals, insects, and yeah, it's just the most peaceful experience that you can ever think of. So this is me sitting in that same boat, and yeah, this is my wife with our tour guide in the background. So we've been up on those lakes for maybe 6, 7, 8 hours, I don't even remember. And this guy just stood there in the bright sun the whole day, and he just pushed us around the whole day. So when I got back home, I just felt a little bit ashamed, like, oh my God, he just we just used this guy, but we gave him a really nice big tip, and yeah, he was just so friendly, a really good guide. So yeah, really happy that we did this trip. So at one point, yeah, we just floated through a little canal, and there was this little lake at the end of it. And at the moment we floated onto the lake, this hippo just came out of the water, I think maybe 6-7 meters in front of us. And immediately this tour guide was like, silent, silent. And he just pushed the boat completely to the right towards the weeds there. And you could just see that he was a little bit scared of those hippos. And this is, maybe you don't know it, but the hippo is the most dangerous animal in Africa. The most human casualties are caused by hippos. And these things are just so powerful and so aggressive around people that our tour guide he knew that if this hippo was going to attack us, we didn't have a single piece of chance. So yeah, we just floated past it real easily, and he didn't say anything, and we just sat as still as possible. And we had to cross the hippo because the canal just went further on the other side of it. So we just went around it, back into the canal, and yeah, until now, I think my wife is never getting into this boat again, because she was just so scared of that moment. And the only thing I thought was, okay, this tour guide, he knows what he's doing. He does this every day, so I just trusted him. But yeah, when I look back at it, it was quite a remarkable moment, to be honest. But this is what you look at, all these beautiful flowers in the water, those reeds. You can't really look very far. If you go in the wet season, the water levels are much higher, so it's much more one giant lake. But at the time we were there, it was just all these small canals and little lakes that you were going through with your boat. And this is actually where the intro to my image actually really starts, because these are the canals that you're going through. And at the moment I took this shot, I put the wide angle lens on, and as you can see, I've got my backpack laying between my legs, and you have to be really careful, because if you move to do something, the whole boat just moves all the way. So the guide wasn't too happy when I was changing lenses or stuff. So I had just put this wide angle on to get some shots of the environment and of these weeds in front of us. And just seconds after I took this shot, this beautiful kingfisher just landed in front of us in the canal. And I was sitting there with my wide angle lens on it, and I was thinking, damn, I need to switch to the telephoto again. So I started to switch to the right lens, but of course the boat didn't stop. So we kept floating through this canal here. And at the moment I got this telephoto lens on the camera, of course the kingfisher was too close and it flew away. And I was like, oh man, this opportunity is ruined. So I decided to keep the telephoto on the camera for a while. And I think maybe 50 to 100 meters further, that same kingfisher was sitting in the same canal on the reeds again. So we approached that kingfisher again, and you have to imagine this is in a time where we didn't have pro capture on cameras, we didn't have bird recognition, so everything had to be done by hand, and it was just really difficult because all these reeds were distracting the autofocus. It just kept getting spots that I didn't want the autofocus to be on. And every time we approached the bird, it just flew away, and I just didn't have the right focus on the image, or didn't have the bird at all. And every time that happened, the bird just flew away and landed around the next corner we were in, and it just stopped there. And that happened for maybe 3 or 4 times, I think. And every time we went around the corner, the bird was there again, and I was thinking, oh, I have to nail this shot. So when one point it sat on a beautiful spot, and I had all the settings right in the camera at that point, so I had a couple of times to practice, and I was like, I have to nail this shot now. And the first shot, totally unsharp, and but the bird was sitting in a little bit of an open space, so the autofocus was much easier to catch it. So when we got a little bit closer, it got a little bit more in the open space, and I just nailed this shot. And I'm just so happy with this kingfisher shot. It's one of the best bird shots I have in my portfolio, I think. And just the struggle that I had to go to shoot this image. And I'm just so happy with how this image turned out. So this was actually the last shot that I took of this bird, because when we got closer it flew away again, and instead of flying through the canal, it just flew over the weeds to another area. And so this was the last opportunity that I got to take the photo, and I just got it. And I'm still really happy with this shot, and it's one of my favorite bird shots. And once again, it's all in the story behind it. It's the feeling on how I got this image, the hippo in front of the boat, the whole peaceful environment around the boat. Just really contribute to the end result of this image and the feeling that I have with this image, and that I wanted to share with you in this little clip. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little video about my trip. I really enjoy making these little trips back through memory lane, and I hope you do too. So hope to see you this Sunday on the next on location video. And if you like the video, don't forget, push the thumbs up button, and there's a little subscribe button underneath this video. If you didn't push it already, then please push it. You will massively help this channel to grow, and you will get a notification when I release my next video, and that's this Sunday. So thanks for watching. See you this Sunday, and bye bye.